Okay, when you're talking about exponential functions, it's natural to talk about something called the natural base. The natural base is this weird looking number over here. It's 2.7 and it goes on and on and on. It actually goes on forever. It's one of these things we call irrational numbers, which does not end or repeat. So the patterns right here never terminate, never ends, and it never actually repeats. You can never predict the next digit. Okay, and how do you get this number? Well, you get it by doing what I'm about to describe in example number 3. So in example number 3, basically they're saying take this formula and replace the x with 1. So like for example, if I plug in 1 into the formula, I would get 1 over 1, I would get rather 1 plus 1 over 1 all to the power of 1, which the whole thing would just be at the end 2. So far that's great. What about when I do a 2? So it's going to be 1 plus 2 all divided by 2 to the power of 2. And if you plug this in your calculator, what do you get? So I get 2.25. What about 3? So if I did 1 plus 3 all divided by 3 to the power of 3, what do I get? Let's give it a shot. I get, roughly speaking, 2.37. And let's keep doing the same thing again. 1 plus 4 over 4 to the power of 4. 1 plus 5 over 5 to the power of 5. And I'm just going to round everything to 2 decimal places. Interesting stuff starts happening when the numbers get very, very large. So like 10, and then 20, 50, and 1,000. Let's go ahead and give it a shot and see what happens. So grab your calculator, punch these numbers in, and let's see what happens. Okay, so using my calculator, I can get the values to 2.25, 2.37, 2.44, and so on and so forth. The interesting thing is what happens at the very end, the last few numbers, right? And as you can see, hopefully, the last few numbers, the 2.7169, starts to look more like this natural base. And the idea is, if I kept going into the table and putting bigger and bigger numbers, eventually, the number I see at the end of the table will be exactly the natural base E. So if I plug in like 1 trillion and then like, who knows, 100 trillion and so on and so forth, then the last digit, the last numbers I see are gonna all look like 2.71828. Okay, so therefore we usually, instead of saying all these words, we normally say that the limit as x approaches infinity of 1 plus x over x to the power of x is equal to the base E, the natural number that we call natural base E. Okay, so that's kind of an interesting one. This is a really big, observation, really big, interesting theorem. And in the future, when you hear the number or when you see the letter E, just remember this is, roughly speaking, 2.7. Just like pi, you already know is like, roughly speaking, 3.14. Okay, so that's what you need to remember from this whole discussion. Okay.